Hello mathematicians, and welcome to this video on adding and subtracting fractions. This is part 2. In part 1, we talked about adding and subtracting fractions with like and unlike denominators. This time we will do the same thing, but we are going to be throwing in mixed numbers and improper fractions. So, the first example that we're going to do is going to be 3 1/5 plus 1 1/10. Now in class I showed two strategies. The first one was adding the whole numbers and then adding the fractions. And the second strategy was converting the mixed numbers to improper fractions first and then adding those fractions together. I will be using that strategy in this video. So we have 3 1/5, and we want to convert that to an improper fraction. Right now it is a mixed number. So to do that, we multiply the whole number by the denominator, so 3 times 5, and then we add the numerator. So this will look like our whole number is 3, our denominator is 5, our numerator is 1, and this is all over our original denominator, which is 5. Now, according to GEMDAS, or the order of operations, we need to multiply before we add. So 3 times 5 makes 15, and we still have plus 1. All of this is still over 5. So 15 plus 1 makes 16, and we keep that 5. I'm going to put a little star above this fraction so I know to come back to that. Our second mixed number is 1 1/10. We'll do the same process. Multiply our whole number, which is 1, by our denominator, which is 10. Add our numerator, which is also 1, and put it over the original denominator, which is 10. So 1 times 10 makes 10. We still have plus 1, and our denominator is 10. Add 10 plus 1 and we get 11. Keep our denominator of 10, we get 11/10. And this is our second fraction. So on the next page, we're going to be looking at 16 over 5 plus 11 over 10. And we know that we need to add them because of this sign right here. So on the next page, we have 16 over 5 plus 11 over 10. Now looking at the denominators, we have 5 and 10, which are different, so we know that we will need to multiply. Remember, to get our least common denominator or lowest common denominator, we need to ask ourselves, does 5 go into 10 or does 10 go into 5? Well, 5 goes into 10. We can multiply it by 2. So if one number goes into the other number, then the higher number is our lowest common denominator, or our goal. If neither number goes into the other, like if you had 1/5 plus 1/3, well, 5 does not go into 3. 3 does not go into 5. In that case, you would need to multiply 5 by 3 and 3 by 5. So that's if they don't share a common multiple. Okay, so in this case they do. That common multiple is 10. So we know that our goal, or our magic number, is 10. Okay, that's what we want our denominator to be. That's known as the lowest common denominator, LCD. Okay, so 16 over 5, I'll leave some space, and 11 over 10. All right, so in the first fraction, 16 over 5, we need to put a 2 here because 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, remember that we want this number in red to be a form of 1. Therefore, we need a 2 here because 2 divided by 2 is 1. In the second fraction, 11 over 10, we need to put a 1 here because 10 times 1 is 10. That's the number we want. Again, we want this number in red to be a form of 1, so this must be a 1 because 1 divided by 1 is 1. Now when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across in numerators and denominators. So in the first fraction, 16 times 2 is 32. For the denominator, 5 times 2 is 10. I see an addition sign here, so I will bring that down. Numerator of the second fraction, 11 times 1 is 11. Denominator, 10 times 1 is 10. So now we have 10 here and 10 here. The denominators are the same. Excellent. That is what we want. That is why we did this. So keep that 10. And we have 32 here in the numerator, 11 here in the numerator, and we add them. So 32 plus 11 is 43. Okay, so this is your final answer as an improper fraction. We cannot reduce it because 43 does not go into 10, 10 does not go perfectly into 43, and the only common factor that 43 and 10 share is the number 1. If you want to make this a mixed number, you can do long division, 10 into 43. That goes 4 times. 10 times 4 is 40. 3 minus 0 is 3, and 4 minus 4 is 0. I'll actually put that 3 in green so that we see it's the remainder. So now when we write 43 over 10 as a mixed number, our quotient becomes the whole number, our denominator stays the same as what it was, which is 10, and our numerator is the remainder. If that was too fast, please watch part 1, and I go a little bit slower, so hopefully it makes more sense, but of course if you have questions, please email me. Okay, so 43 over 10 or 4 3/10, either answer is correct. They are the same number in a different form. Okay, one more example. Let's do subtraction. This time we have 6 1/2 minus 9 2/3. All right, let's convert our mixed numbers to improper fractions. So 6 1/2, I'm going to go a bit quicker. We have 6 times 2 plus 1 all over 2. That's 12 plus 1 all over 2. And that is 13 over 2. That's our first fraction, improper fraction. Our second mixed number, I'm going to ignore this negative right now. For now, we will need it later. We have 9 2/3. So we have 9 times 3 plus 2 all over 3, which makes 27 plus 2 all over 3, which makes 29 over 3. That's our second fraction. So on the next page, we will focus on 13 over 2 and 29 over 3. And now, because this is a subtraction sign, we will subtract them. So going to the next page, we have 13 over 2 minus 29 over 3. And again, this is minus because this right here says minus or subtract. Okay. So now, this is a denominator of 2, this is a denominator of 3. They're different. We need to multiply. So let's see. Does 2 go into 3? Nope. Does 3 go into 2? Nope. So we need to find the lowest number that they both go into. So in this case, just multiply 2 times 3, and you get 6. That's going to be your lowest common denominator. So over here, our goal is 6. That's our lowest common denominator. All right, so we have 13 over 2, I'll leave some space, minus 29 over 3. And we know we're going to multiply these by something. So 2 will be multiplied by 3 because 2 times 3 is 6. And 3 will be multiplied by 2 because 3 times 2 is 6. It's a commutative property of multiplication. In the first red fraction, we want 1, so this must be 3. And in the second, we want 1, so this must be 2. We multiply straight across in numerators and denominators. In the first fraction, we get 13 times 3 is 39. Denominator, 2 times 3 is 6. Minus 29 times 2 gives us 58. In the denominator, we have 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay, 6 here, 6 here. We have common denominators, so we just bring it straight across. And now 39 minus 58. Well, let's see. If we did 58 minus 39, we could do that and then attach a negative at the end. So this becomes 18, this becomes 4. 18 minus 9 is 9. 4 minus 3 is 1. So we get 19, but because the 58 right here has a negative in front of it, and the 58 is bigger than the 39, then that means that the 19, or the answer, will also be negative. So negative 19 over 6. And if you would like to convert that to a mixed number, then just do the same thing we did before. We do 6 into 19. That goes 3 times. 6 times 3 is 18. We get a remainder of 1. So this will be negative 3, because we had a negative right here. So negative 3, our denominator stays 6, and our numerator is the remainder, which is 1. So as a mixed number, we get negative 3 and 1/6. Now don't be fooled, just because this was a negative to begin with in the problem, that doesn't always mean that we will get a negative right here. So that one was just a coincidence. I hope that this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please email me. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.